It is a pleasure, of course, to be here and helping our new dealer, AB India Tools, by presenting some important points about the sheet metal punching world. First of all, let me introduce, as already Mr. British told you, I'm Daniele Carollo, Technical Sales Manager of Matrix Tools Italy. Matrix is a company situated in Italy on the north, with almost 40 years of experience on this sheet metal fields. We produce all kinds of punches. I don't want to bore you too much, so with this introduction, so let's start from the video of our company. Okay, so this was a very quick video in order to present our company. Hope you saw it quite well, and also with the sound. Mr. British, please confirm this.
Yes.
Okay. So nothing more. I don't want to bother you too much with some presentation. In case Matrix, as I already told you, has almost 40 years of experience and produce all kinds of punching tools. We are present all around the world, producing and shipping tools everywhere. Let's go on today with some basic, we can say, information, speaking about good habits to know in order to work in the right way and in order to save money and to have to increase the quality of your products. So let's go on with the presentation today. Specifically, we are going to speak about tool alignment and the maintenance in general, the prevention of the slag pulling. The third argument will be the sharpening, so grinding of the tools. The fourth point will be whisper sharpening and surface coating on the tools. And the last argument will be the nibbling operation. So the first argument is the tool alignment inside the maintenance argument. As you know, probably know, the correct alignment is a very important thing. A perfect alignment avoids premature wearing, abrasion, damage. If you have the machine correctly aligned, it means that you save money on the maintenance and also on the punching tools purchase. From this picture that you see on the presentation, you can see that you reach the correct alignment when you have the same space on the entire perimeter of the punch, the die, the punch, the space around the punch and inside the die must be always the same. If there is more space in one side than to the other one, it means that you have a disalignment. So let's see more in detail from this next slide. This is an offset, an punch and die, and specifically we're speaking about out of center. So from the picture you can see that the punch is not aligned to the die. So it means that the punch is going to hit the die, damaging the die, and the correct alignment is the rotation. So it means that the punch or the die is rotated against the die or the opposite. So when you work in such condition, the result is that the punch and the die are damaged only in some parts. Normally it is around the corners, as you can see from the picture, and one opposite to the other one. So when, in other words, when you see the damaging, some damage, 99% you have the machine not correctly aligned. In order to help our customer to check the alignment of the machine, of the tools, Matrix produce and offer to the market. With these tools, the operator, the machine operator, can regularly, daily, weekly, monthly check the alignment of the stations, so every single station, the rotation, the index station, and also the machine turret, so the complete machine turret. Then another important argument, speaking about the maintenance, is to install the tools, always clean it. I saw many dirty tools, not cleaned, with a lot of rusty. So if you work in such condition, of course, your product will cost more. Why? Because you will buy more tools and you need to ask to your machine manufacturer more maintenance. So the technician is going to come in your factory to make more maintenance. Why? It's very simple, because if you install the tools completely clean it and the housing of the tools on the machine are completely clean, it means that you are working always in the perfect condition. This, if you work in this way, you are going to avoid bad working and also machine and tools damaging. The second point is use only professional accessories. What does it mean? For, one example is the die shims. When you grind the tools, mostly the die, when you grind the die, the height of the die becomes smaller. So in order to move up the die, you put under the die some shims. A lot of customer is producing these shims themselves. But have you never asked yourself if the material that you are producing, this die shim, is the correct one? As you can see from the picture number 2, this is a die shims self-produced from one customer. So the shims is not flat, is completely damaged, and this creates some tolerance that in a long term is going to damage the machine housing. Changing the machine housing, it means change probably some turret component, and change some part component, it means a lot of money. So why write shims for having big problem in the future? The third point is inspect and lubricate these springs. As you know, on the speaking about thick turret tools, the bigger springs. So we highly suggest to regularly check them. If there is some disc broken, please change it. If there is some rusty, oil it, lubricate, or put some grease. All the system is going to work better, really better. The last point is the picture number 4. That is the inspection of the key, of the turret key, of the die key. Also inside the punch holder, there are some key that align it, the punch more cheaper. So this is a picture that show our tools, our line, that explain how the lubrication work. So as you can see from the top, the oil is coming from the machine, or if you don't have the automatic tool lubrication, you can lubricate manually daily by the operator. The oil come from the top, go inside the tank of the punch holder, and through the holes and the channel, the oil pass the holder and also the stripper, and at the end the sheet metal is completely oily, lubricated. This is going to increase the production, the life of the tools, and at the end, always your products will be better. So, in other words, if you are following a poor maintenance, you're going to increase the tool cost. You're going to reduce the punching machine life. You're going to have a bad processing time. And of course, your product costs are going to increase. So your products will cost more. So a proper maintenance is a very cost effective. So why not put some small but constant effort on maintenance of the complete tool area. It means that the scrap that you're cutting, normally down back, it can be a big problem. Sometimes also. You see that it's 2.0 millimeter. The answer that we are producing on the die is perfectly working. So if you penetrate with the punch the die only 1 millimeter, 1.5, the anti-slag is not working. So the risk that the scrap is coming back on the table of the machine is very high, and this creates a big problem. So another argument about the prevention of the slag pulling is the using a correct die clearance. So the space between the punch and die can change, and this depends of the thickness, material, type of material, and also the type of job that you want to do. What happens if the clearance, the die clearance is smaller than the required one? You have a premature tool wearing, you have less number of hits that the tools can do. And at the end, since the tools cost more, the holes will cost more. So your products will cost more. The opposite, vice versa, what happens if the clearance is higher than the correct one? The holes will appear with some bores, so it's not completely acceptable. The sheet metal is not flat, but sometimes can be bended. And of course, the sheet metal and the aesthetic final result is, of course, completely not acceptable. So why use a correct die clearance? Because you will have a longer tool life, you will have a less sheet metal distortion. As a consequence, you're going to grind less your tool. So you will get a higher aesthetic final result, less boring, some bad result on the holes, so your products will cost less and it will be better. On all our catalogs, you can find this table. It's a generic table that guide you to select the right die clearance. Don't worry, I mean, if you will have an order or an offer, Matrix and AB India tools will help you to choose the right die clearance. But if you have a lot of dies with different die clearance and you want to know which one are for this thickness and this material, this table can guide you to find the right information. So the first column guide you to select the material. There are three groups: soft material, mild steel, and hard material, stainless steel. The second column is the thickness range. And the third column, please do not see these two tables, are for other arguments. So the standard column are for guide you to calculate the right percentage in order to find the right clearance. Just an example, 2.5 millimeter of mild steel. What is the die clearance, the correct die clearance? So mild steel, 2.5, standard 22%. So 22% of 2.5 millimeter of mild steel is 0.55 millimeter of die clearance total. Mr. Brigish, any question till now? Mr. Brigish?
No question, Mr. Daniel. Yes, clear all.
Okay, no question. Okay, so let's go on. I forgot to tell to everybody, if you have any question, any marks, or whatever you want to ask, please feel free. It is a pleasure to reply to your question. Mr. Brigish is open to reply to your question on this webinar. The question must be right on the chat. If there will be big or a very long question that are not able to answer immediately, in a few days we are going to collect all questions and PDF file. So let's go on. The third argument is the sharpening, the importance of the grinding of the tools. First of all, when does the tool need to be sharpened? So the general rules are when you start to see on the punch, okay, a small radius. When you start from 0.1, 0.15 millimeter. So it is time to sharp. Or when there are visible marks on the punch, so there are some tears on here, or of course, when the holes on the sheet metal are not, aesthetically speaking, not good. So job, and the final result is completely fine, completely good. And after some days, the holes start to have some bores. It means that it's time to grind. From these two pictures, you can see a correct sharpening and a not correct sharpening. As you can see, the color are completely different. A professional grinding machine can give you the same characteristic of a new punch. So it means that if one punch with the same job, same thickness, same material, same process, made 1 million of hits, after a professional grinding, the tool must make less hits. It means that who made the grinding made a not professional grinding operation. So for example, this tool, this die that has not grind in a professional way, has completely born. And this die of the hits that a new die can do. So this is a very practical example of incorrect sharpening and a correct sharpening. Let's go more in detail. Punch a new die. This is just an example, okay? Not take this number as real, but it is just an example. So let's start a job, 80,000 hits. The radius on the punch start to become 0.15. So as I told you before, now we should stop the production. We should stop for a few minutes. We must remove the punch and on with the production. So as you can see, the punch go on with the working, and after half hits, so 40,000 hits, so in total we are 120,000, the radius become the double, 0.3 millimeter. We don't stop and we go on. We make 5. We don't stop, we go on. We made extra 10,000 hits. The radius become bigger. We don't stop. Now we go on again and we make extra 5,000 hits. Now we have a radius. So in total, now we stop and we sharp. So in total, I make 155,000 hits, and now I need to grind the punch for minimum 0. Splitly sharp. Let's see a correct way to grind the tools. We make 8,000 hits. We stop for a few minutes and we grind. So as I told you before, after a professional grinding, the tool make the same number of hits. So the tool, after the sharpening, make another 80,000 hits, okay? Again, we grind, again, we grind, again, and we grind. So in total, after this, we have reached 400,000 hits, and we need to we removed the same quantity of material of the punch. So we can say that by this very easy, very simple, but tested, frequent, correct, and a professional grinder give you more than double of the hits of a punch, of the tool. So why make not a correct, frequent, and professional grinding? Why? You're going to pay more money for nothing. This is a formula to calculate the how we can grind the tools. SBR, that is the cutting power available after the radius, not before the radius. From this value, we must remove the stripper 8. We must remove the thickness of the material. We must remove the die penetration available inside Matrix, a professional grinding machine, fully automatic, universal, that can grind all kinds of tools, flat, and also whisper and double whisper. See, on the YouTube channel, there is a video also on our website. On this QR code that you can scan, you can immediately go and watch the video. I don't want to, we are not going to see now, otherwise the presentation is going to take too much time, but please, I invite easy to use, fully automatic, and I'm sure that is going to achieve your expectation on the grinding life, on the grinding tool. The third argument is the whisper sharpening and the surface coating. So the whisper sharpening, it means that we are using punches not flat or inverted whisper. So there are several options. On the bottom of this slide, you can see the type of sharpening and why they are recommended and for what. But in general, the sharpening are noise, okay, the noise up to 50%. It is going to reduce the vibration, the stress of the tools and of the machine. So in general, to the whole process, there is a reduction of the slag pulling. So the scrap that go down is help to really go down. Of the tonnage, that could be a very big problem when you're working with a big dimension, big shapes on DE stations, and maybe with the high thicknesses and the stainless steel material, very hard material. At the end, you're going to the extraction of the punch and also the sheet metal deformation. On the table, on the catalog, you can find also this table, this extra table that can help you to calculate the tonnage required of one shape with one dimension. I just suggest you to take into consideration this table when you are reaching the bigger station, C and D station, and mostly when you are working with stainless steel with high thicknesses, 2-3 millimeter stainless steel. It is very easy to reach the maximum capacity of the machine and sometimes also overpass it. In general, Matrix suggests and produces surface coating on the punches. We have two kinds of surface coating. One is the yellow one, and the other one is a dark one that we call type A correspectively and type B. The type A is a titanium surface coating that help the self-lubrication on soft material, zinc material, aluminum, brass material. The second one is more suggested when you're working with hard material. So the surface coating is creating a barrier between the punch, the cutting part, and the material. So the surface coating works as a barrier in order to increase the self-lubrication and also the tool damaging. The last argument is the nibbling operation. As you know, all operation require a cutting tool. Think about cutting a perimeter, 5 by 80, 5 by 50. It's a normal standard rectangle tools to use to cut the perimeter of the sheet metal. So what is the right rule to use the tool in the nibbling? So by using an example, if we have a rectangle 5 by 30, it means that the first hit will be full. So 5 will be 5 by 30, full hit, full hole. But the second hit, what is the percentage that I need to cut? So the suggested percentage is 75. So I don't need to cut 5 by 30 out 5 by 32. 22. 5 by 22. So from the second hit to the last one, I need to cut a rectangle 5 by 22. In this way, I'm working in the best way. The last part, if I cut a complete perimeter and at the end, the program give me 1 millimeter material to cut. Should I cut it and how I need to cut it? If I cut as a last operation, like you can see on the picture, the result will be like this. So the punch is not cutted, the sheet metal, 30 millimeter punch length is a completely disaster because the punch is moving completely to the opposite side and probably you're going to hit the die, breaking the tools. So how to solve this problem? It's quite easy. You make a step forward, okay, and then you come back in order to cut in the center of the punch the remaining part of the sheet metal. In this way, you are working in the center and you are not working completely on the external perimeter of the punch. Another very important thing is that if you want to cut the perimeter, please forget for your mind to work in this situation. You cannot cut on the longer side of the punch. The punch must work always fully, completely full inside the sheet metal, not outside of the sheet metal. Of course, work in this way is completely correct. So 30 minutes is passed. I hope to not be too fast, but we agreed to have 30 minutes of presentation. These are just some points, some suggestions, some good habits that we save, prevent production problem, production cost, because Matrix and AB Tools is completely customer oriented. We are not we are not focused only on selling metal components, okay, but we are also oriented to, and to help the customer to help. So to finish, I really thank you to having participated to this presentation. Now I leave the word to Mr. Brigish that hand the presentation, and we are really happy to reply to all your questions, and feel free to contact us. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
And to every participant. Thank you everyone to attend our presentation of 5 episodes printing tool. If any question, then message to us. We will revert to you as soon as possible. Thank you. Bye bye.